Good morning, welcome to CGTN Live with Dean Yang. The New York Fashion Week was over, and London Fashion Week was also over, but now Milan Fashion Week is closed yesterday, and now what is on is another Fashion Week. I can't remember which is it. So it just came to me the idea. So designing is so interesting today. There's all sorts of creative ideas flying outside. So what it looks like inside or the den of a fashion. So we decided that in this idyllic morning in Beijing autumn to visit one of the best universities that has a fashion, has an art and a design school in China, which is
Tsinghua University.
And I'm not going to do that tour around the beautiful place myself, and so I have a beautiful lady to accompany with me today. Can you introduce to the camera?
Hello, my name is Elena Blair. I'm a second-year student in the Tsinghua MIT Global MBA program in the School of Economics and Management.
Can you tell me a little bit, because before we actually give people a show around in this room, this is a very interesting studio, and later we'll find more interesting details. But can you tell me a little bit what is your understanding of fashion, and especially fashion for students nowadays?
I think fashion is constantly changing. I think a lot of it has to do with what's comfortable, but also something that kind of provides a statement for themselves and also kind of a personal expression. Students in the fashion school tend to have a little bit better taste than the rest of us, but I think we all kind of have our own specific likes and what we choose to wear every day.
I'll give you something before we start doing the tour, and Elena here is she's bilingual. She can speak better Chinese than I can, and so that's another reason I like to make it a bit harder for you. Sorry, I cannot speak that too loud because now there's a class going on, and can you tell us what kind of information or message are you trying to convey with your clothes today?
This is something typically that I wear every day. It's just something that's very comfortable. So since I'm in the finance school, economics school, they tend to dress up a little bit more.
A little bit more?
Yes, so they tend to wear more professional clothing on a daily basis.
Well, they wear suits to class?
No, not suits, but like casual dresses or like button-up shirts, something like that. But I'm the youngest in my class, and I tend to be more of a casual person, and this is something that I wish I could wear every day to work.
Do you find that contradictory a little bit? Because the picture in my mind about Wall Street bankers are always they always suit up and they're always wearing very, very, very formal clothes. But all the students in the School of Economics in Tsinghua University, which is one of the best universities in China, you all wear very casual. Do you find this kind of quite far away from a Wall Street banker, the top job that they can have in the world?
Yes, a bit. And I think it's a little bit about we're not at work yet, so we want to enjoy the comfort while we can before we have to go every day and dress up. At least that's my standpoint. I know some of my classmates like to dress up every day, but personally I like the comfort a little bit more.
I guess that is an interesting idea, because professional, your career kind of conditions how you wear. Okay, so now let's have a camera to kind of round the room a little bit just to show where we are now. This is one of the studios in the Tsinghua University Art of Design, actually, and this is laboratory, that's how they call it, the laboratory for design. And now this is a class going on, so we are given this privilege to talk around and to talk to people, to understand young designers and tailors. I mean, I don't quite understand the two concepts, but yeah, maybe we the designer, embodying future Givenchy, future Chanel, and their mind today will act to the future of fashion industry. But remember, this whole school of China University contains more than one department, but different section and different laboratory. Not fashion design, but it's also about one and ancient arms. Out of this life, we will tapestry laboratory studio as well, and about art, but still bear in mind, although they're art, although they're ancient, but all have a role to play at home, which means that they're also those products, those works that they make, they're also practical. So now let's start the adventure of what is practical and what is artistic. Okay, let's move a little bit. Maybe we can do separately, and I will let my camera lead on this slide. Are you curious about what you're doing? Hello? Can you tell me what you were doing? 现在做什么？
就是在练习一下缝纫机的这个基本的技术。
Is practicing with the sewing machine. Can you use a sewing machine? Yeah. So do you want to try later? Okay. 今年是大几？看看 which year she's in. This university. 你在大二的时候开始学用缝纫英国？
还真没有。现在是就特别。
I just if use sewing machine at home, I think in China it's still something you'll see in a sick environment. And she told me that 以前见过家里是缝纫
古典用老的来用，但是自己家里以后就没有那种。
Thank you. Thank you. Just ask her that she used no, but she does remember that grandmother using sewing machine, and it was a very old Chinese brand called Butterfly. Yeah, and another thing I just observed in this surrounding is that this place is full of women students, and of the entire class. I spot two gentlemen, and here I'm with one of them. Come on. Yeah. Morning, sir. What's your name?
新玉。
Nice to meet you. We're from CGTN, and we just noticed that you and the other gentleman over there, you are the only two men students in this class. 就是你们两个是这个班里面唯仅有的两个男生。Why？ 为什么？
因为我们美院整体的男女比例就是男生偏少，大概在3:1左右吧。
He just told me that the ratio, man to women students ratio in the design and art school is relatively kind of deep-sided. It's do you feel in any way strange about that?
其实也没有，因为上高中的时候学艺术的时候，男女比例其实就是女生特别多，然后所以女生的学艺术的基数会比较大，所以考进来的女生也比较多，而且服装系在美院里面又是一个偏女生的一个学科，所以这里的男生比例就更少。
He told me that ever since he started studying fashion design and art in high school, the ratio isn't very balanced already, and more apparently here more because I guess in China women are more interested in fashion design. I don't know if that's true statistically. What is your take on this?
I think it really depends on the person, but I think now a lot more people are willing to kind of try new things also, and there's a lot more studies on non-traditional roles, I guess. And I think a lot more people want to try these new things and kind of express themselves in different ways.
Do you have any fashion icon in mind? 就是你觉得你想成为谁吗？纪梵希还是？
加利阿诺吧。
Do you know that name? I'm sorry. How to pronounce it?
他原来是迪奥的总监，然后现在是 Margiela 的总监。
So our friend here has a fashion icon in mind. It's not Givenchy like I mentioned. He mentioned the name who used to supervise the production in Dior, but now it's transferred to other streamline. But thank you. Wish you a bright future. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So now I guess we have enough for talking. This is a workshop. This is a class, and the students coming here to study, to learn, to practice. I think that is what we should do next.
You want to practice?
Well, just a little bit. You see, there's quite a lot of dummies over there, and for today's class, I invited a professor to join us just to supervise our work. Professor, thank you for waiting us. Thank you. Allow me to introduce this Professor Wang Yi, and she is a senior member of the faculty here, and I invited her to join us to teach us one thing or two about sewing, about designing, and because I had no training whatsoever in this field, so we might need to do that from scratch. 王教授，我们能先去看一下那边的那个人偶吗？好的 ，Let's go. Can you tell us what are they and what they're for?
这个是学生的作业，是制作的过程。
Okay, this is the homework from students. So can we try it on? Can we wrap it ourselves to make some sort of product ourselves? Okay. Do you want to try? You know, after this, you might consider transferring from economy into.
这个是我们用的立裁的针，你试一下。
That's the pin. Oh.
然后呢，我们一般比如这个肩膀的地方是后边压着前边，然后基本上呢是在这个布大概很近的，我们一般是0.1、0.2，就是很准确的地方扎住。最关键的是呢，在你扎住之后，它不能。
Now the professor is moving in an area that is very hard for me to translate. Okay.
So basically, you just want to pin the two cloths together, but without sticking on the person.
I'm sure he will feel
要不
the
然就
pain.
拔不下来了。
Be careful. Be careful. Be
That's
careful.
fine.
对，非常好。你看啊，如果要是老师在讲的时候，还会注意到就这样啊，这边针要少一点，这边多一点，然后呢，尽
The
量
professor is
是
showing us the more professional way to do it.
这样呢，它会更准确，更准确。
这是用来做什么呢？
这一步骤呢，实际上是叫立体裁剪。裁剪一般是2个方式，平面和立体。那么学生在这2个方式当中是自由切换的，他可以先拿一块布，直接在我们这叫 dress form 这个人台上面直接进行裁剪，或者是说他可以先在纸面上像这些学生一样，先画出一个大概齐，然后在那个基础上在人台上进行修正。调整。
So this is the protocol. You need to draw what is in your mind before you will try the pattern on the dummy, and then you can make revision on it, and then just keep doing that until it is perfect.
你可以直观的，其实在这个上面就看到衣服未来的样子，然后同时也可以运用一些方法在上面修改。这个修改实际上是真正在衣服上的修改，是你可以从头脑的想象当中变成一个你能看到的立体的东西。
You need to transfer what is in your mind, the conception, what you've perceived, onto something in order to make it real. And this is what actually helps you. The dummy will help you to make the thing in your mind real, and then you can kind of see the result of your conception, of your ideas. So we've been very curious about that sewing machine because it's far from the one that my grandmother used a few decades ago. Do you think we can try it on, maybe?
Please.
Do you want to have a go with it? Okay. I'm sorry for interrupting. Yeah.
试一下这个机器，没关系。就可以这样先试试机器的感觉。
Okay. Would you hold this?
这个是咱们现在大家都推工业的方式，对，那是踏板。然后这个地方你可以把压脚抬起来，或者你用后边的地方都可以。
So I have to confess. Oh, thank you. I have to confess that I know nothing. Ouch. Okay.
可以，对。
Yeah. And because we only have about 2 minutes left during this session, so I will try my best to not ruin this piece of work. And
放
okay.
下压脚啊，那就可以了。
And I just
手扶着这个布料。
hold it. So I need to. Oh, okay. you can see the needle. I think I've been warned that do not touch anything that can move. So, ooh.
速度很快。
Ooh. I can, yeah. I don't think the
上线有一点问题
啊。
不过没关系，这个你可以看出来缝的那个线。
Does this make me a better tailor?
这个是作为一个学服装的学生一定要会的一项基本技能，就是你要把你的头脑里想的东西，然后用布料在人台上可能扎出来、呈现出来，你一定要把它缝合拼接起来，所以这个是一个必修课。
So this is one of the fundamental, one of the essential for the students within the school. So I only have about half a minute left because I have people shouting in my ear, telling me that. But my last question is, what is a fashion? Can you tell me what is a fashion?
其实，我个人认为的啊，时尚其实就是指的我们这个时代的风尚，它不止一些具体的东西，但它涵盖了所有的具体的东西。但是我个人觉得，时尚实际上是隐藏在所有的你看到的这些具象的设计背后的，它是一个时代人们的生活方式。然后呢，它是一个时代人们的思潮、人们的想法都涵盖在这里边。所以
Thank you, Professor. That is a very conclusive answer. What is fashion? The professor just told me fashion could be everything, and everything could contain a fashionable element. But you need to discover it with a discerning eye, so you can discover what is the fashion element behind, well, the ordinary objects you can see every day. Okay, so I need to wrap up this session, but don't go away. My colleague Nadim Diab is waiting in another lab, and he will show you something equally extraordinary, and maybe you can see that day by day, every day. But now let's discover what is the secret behind the science of dyeing. I'll see you in a minute.
Thank you, Dean and Elena, and welcome everyone to the second leg of our journey here at the School of Fine Arts at the University of Tsinghua in Beijing. Now, fashion is as much about designs as it is about colors. Colors are bold statements. They express what we feel. They express our point of views, the mood we're in. They're a big deal, especially in the fashion industry, where on catwalks, much like seasonal collections, colors come and go. But whether you like a certain color or you cannot stand another, when it comes to colors, at the heart of them is the same substance, which is dye. And today, we're going to learn more about this technique with someone who has devoted decades of his life to the study, design, and history of the art of dyeing as well as textile. But before we go meet Professor Jiajin Sheng, I want to show you these works of art. Now, they might look like ordinary paintings, but they're not. The paint that they're using is basically pigments, and today we're going to see how these pigments adhere to textile and how clothes, no matter what they are, whether you like them or not, actually get that color. And so we're seeing all around all these canvases, and they're so intricate, but again, they're not using this viscous liquid that is paint. They're using a substance that is at the base, a powder that is then mixed with other material. And now we're going to go and chit-chat with Professor Jia. 你好. Hi. Professor Jia. Tony has been kind enough to translate for us today. So here we go. Professor Jia, what are we going to do today?
所以我们今天该做一些什么呢？
不是，今天呢是这个印染艺术设计课。这个印染艺术设计课呢，一般是大4来上。那么这个课呢，它包含3个方面。第一个方面呢是这个手工印染，这是传统的手工印染。第二个方面呢是这个机器印染，也就是大机器我们画出来到企业去印染。第3个方面呢是这个数码印染，数码印染就是用计算机来做。这3个这个内容呢，其实就是它的发展的历史阶段，3个历史阶段。这个手工艺呢是这是我们农耕时代留下来的这个传统的印染，这里面包含着扎染、蜡染、这个南印花布等等的，或者植物染。这是与这 这个历史上这个遗存的这个手工时代。那么第二个呢，就是机器印染，就是大机器的来做。大机器做的话呢，这个一般来说我们在这个课上画，然后到企业去印制，这个呢是这么一个状态。第三个呢是咱们现在发展的这个技术比较先进的，就是数码印，就是数字化，这是信息时代产生的。那么这个呢，通过什么数码印染机，然后呢再去把它做出来。这三个时代呢，这只能说明是一个不同时代产生的一个工具，不代表呢这个三个时代这个三种这个印染方式这个时尚的什么落后先进之分，这个没有什么先进和落后之分。如果比如说用手工印，也可以做出非常时尚的这个产品。用这个数字化印呢，也可以做出时尚产品。这个只是工具的不同，但是不代表这个市场不认可不认可。
Oh, you have a lot to translate.
So,
So
today we're giving an introduction to a fourth-year dyeing design class, and as Professor Jia mentioned, this class focused primarily on 3 different aspects. Right now, the students are working on the first stage, which is hand painting, where they make the design on campus before it's printed, and it's also the most traditional method of dyeing.
So by hand?
By hand, yes, using dyes and wax. Throughout the process of development, we move on to the second stage, which is mostly printing. So
this is through the history.
Yes,
of the art of dyeing.
Exactly.
Okay.
As we progress through the history of dyeing, we talked about the first stage, and we move into the second stage, where it's printing, where the design is made by hand, but the colors are printed using machines.
Okay.
This is the second stage. And then currently we're in the third stage, where it's more or less about making the designs on the computer and then printing it using machines. So everything is completely digital. It's called the digital age. And as Professor Jia has emphasized, each different stage is seen as a different tool of design. Not necessarily one is better than the other, or one can replace the other, but rather
complementary.
Exactly, they complement each other, and some people they have different uses. For example, the traditional designs are more seen as art, whereas if you use the digital for mass production of clothing.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Tony. I mean, that was mammoth effort. So I think today we're going to go back to the basics and try to apply color and pigments by hand, not by machines or on the computer, right?
Right. 所以今天我们还是回到方法呢，就是用这个颜色和蜡来做一个很简单的一个作品，是吧？
对。对，今天的这个课呢是以蜡染为主，就是蜡仿染，利用仿染的原理来做。
So the focus of today's segment will be to use wax, and wax acts as a paint deterrent. So then when we're making the art, anything that has wax in it will not have color, will not be stained by color, will not be stained by the dye.
Can we start?
可以呢，这个一般来说的话呢，先把这个布进行处理，也就是褪浆，就是这个布让它变得白白的，像一张纸一样。然后呢，这个是用热水煮，煮完干了以后呢，给它绷在框子上面，绷在框子里完了以后呢，就可以呢，就是我们在上染料之前，要把这个打湿了。这个打湿的目的呢，就是让它润，就是颜色上去能够像在纸上一样的特别润，不然的话它会有笔触，哎。这个你可以试一下。
Okay.
啊，你来试一下。
So
okay, I'll give you this to translate while I'll 试一下。
Sure.
试一下。好。
So as Professor Jia has just stated, the first step of the dyeing process is to first pre-treat the canvas. The canvas is pre-treated using bleach, and we actually boil this. So then the colors is easier to be stained, and the canvas is more white. And then the first step of actually before we paint is to wet the canvas, so then the colors is easier to be stained.
Okay.
To be dyed.
So do we have to let it dry, or can we just place the pigments immediately on a very wet canvas?
有没有必要先等这个先干？
铺上，不能干。
不能干。
把它整个
cannot be dried. You have to be faster.
Let the master do it. Oh, okay.
You're too slow.
I'm too slow. It's my first day. He has to be efficient.
No, yeah.
Oh. 这样让它湿透了，湿透了以后呢，可以让它稍微干一下。就是说不要完全的湿透，那么怎么办呢？一般来说用这个吹风机啊，稍微吹一下。
So why are we using the hair blower?
So it can't be completely wet, but it can't be too dry either. There's a perfect spot. Yeah, just taking away some of the moisture. And the hair.
All right. And so we just need to let it dry a teeny tiny bit.
Exactly.
Before we start using whatever colors we have.
Right.
And so can you ask Professor, already doing this. Can you ask Professor Jia how many colors do they use? Like what are the primary colors do they use? Are they like the normal primary colors like the green and
red and blue?
The two other colors?
所以通常
I cannot remember.
通常我们一共用几个颜色？是那些不同的颜色是拼出来的？
可以无数个颜色都可以。
无数个颜色。
哎，可以。
As many colors as you need.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do they mix colors together, or just every color goes in a specific place?
所以这不同的颜色是用这3种颜色给拼出来的呢？
可以用这个，因为最起码要有3原色。
对。
3原色呢，有红、黄、蓝，加上一个黑颜色。
Those primary colors.
其他的颜色都能拼出来。哎，其他的颜色都能拼出来。比如说，先是一个黄颜色，把它倒出来，这个有点淡啊，有点淡。然后，这样上去的颜色呢，它比较润，不然的话呢，它颜色它有笔触，这样的话看不出笔触来。
So
这个是叫草黄。草黄，这是直接染料。
So he's just applying a sort of, the way I understand is also still a pre-treating color before adding any other colors.
So that's the base?
Yeah, that's the base color, exactly. That's the right word.
Oh God, he's going to shout at me. I'm sure. I have to be fast. And can you ask Professor Jia, why is it important to keep doing? I sprinkled it all. So why is it still important to keep this tradition of handmade dyeing technique? Why is it important in this?
Right. 所以我们为什么需要保留这种传统的手艺？
传统的手艺
对
代表了中国传统的文化。传统的文化代表这个民族的文化。现在因为随着这个大机器的生产、信息化的这个大潮的冲击啊，传统的手工已经淡出了市场，淡出了人的生活。我们需要重新来认识本民族传统的意义和价值。所以呢，我们呢学校呢有这个责任，把这些传统东西让我们的90后、让00后都认识它的价值。它的价值在哪儿呢？价值保持文化的多样性。
So the main focus of why we're trying to preserve the tradition is it's a reflection of Chinese culture. Furthermore, it's a reflection of the different ethnic cultures within China. As society grows into grows into globalization, there's a lot of influences from the West. But at the same time, it's very important for the new millennials to also understand what's tradition, what's in their roots, the traditional art forms that exist in China.
Speaking about the importance of preserving culture, especially this, because China has so many ethnic groups and each one of them has its own tradition, sort of. I just want to show two things that fascinated me. So there's this, and then this is handmade. Well, obviously not the whole pillow, but the outside of it. And then there's another one that.
这是蜡染，这是南樱花布。
So even though that we have similar colors, different patterns, but these represent two different ethnic groups that come from two different Chinese regions. So this one is from Zhejiang province in East China, and this one is from
贵州
Guizhou province.
which is not
蜡
East
染是蜡染的大省，全世界最细的蜡染在这儿，全世界最细的手工蜡染在这儿，就是织金。
The world's most advanced wax dyeing process is from Guizhou province.
Okay, and this as well is from Guizhou.
Exactly.
I want to see if we can zoom in to see the intricate details of this textile, and this is done by hand using hands actually, and it takes quite a lot of time. But the reason why there's white and there's blue is because they put the wax on top of the textile before they add the color, and then when they remove the wax, the white appears and the whole design comes into shape. And I think it's quite fascinating that two items that, you know, from one glance look similar are so different and encompass so many different cultures and so many different aesthetics that are related to different Chinese ethnic groups. And so with this brief introduction to dyeing, we are going to go back to Dean, who is at the Tapestry Lab here at the School of Fine Arts at Tsinghua University, and I will be joining him in a very short while. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in just a few seconds.
welcome back to CGTN Live with Dian Yang and my friend Elena here, and we are in the Art and Design School of Tsinghua University, and now we are visiting another lab, another studio, and it's about one of the, well, maybe often seen art forms, but you just simply sometimes ignore how mysterious and how secretive they can be. So let's look around. This interesting, the entrance into the studio. Look at what are on the wall. Can you tell me a little bit what your perception of the things you're seeing, you're looking at?
It's very abstract. So looking at this, to me, it looks like feathers or leaves, but there's no discernible features that makes me say, oh, this is specifically something. To me, this is a very abstract art form, and it also has a lot of texture and a lot of three-dimensional feeling to it, even though it's kind of presented on a 2D space. It's very distinct, but also very unique, and it's done in a lot of different ways. Like, you have multiple layers, you have different colors. I think it's very unique in itself, and it's kind of hard to really discern what it is. Yeah.
My friend Elena here, she is an economics student in Tsinghua University, and I feel compelled to ask the question: does that rational side of you kind of contradicting when you try to interpret the works?
A little bit, just because you're kind of used to working with numbers or specific things with answers, and art is something that's very interpretive and something that's very not one answer. It's very much what it means to the person perceiving it, and I think that's kind of hard for some people to tap into, especially those who come from very analytical backgrounds. But thankfully, I grew up with art, and I really like art, so to me this is very interesting.
Okay, although I cannot say that interpretation is right or wrong, I think that way of judging is not very correct. But we really need to invite someone more professional in this area to tell us how close we could get with that interpretation. I'm going to invite a professor from the tapestry department and to tell us what the meanings of the art thing we see on the wall. And allow me to introduce you, Professor Mr. Yue, to join us from the department. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. 幸会。Hi. This can you introduce to the camera? And this is the who you are. Tell the 就像那个网友们介绍一下您是谁。
我是清华大学美术学院纤维艺术专业的老师，我叫岳松。欢迎大家直播走进我们的工作室。谢谢。
We have Mr. Yue here. He works here. He's one of the faculty of this department. Now he is going to interpret us, tell us what those arts mean. 您能跟我们讲一讲这个每一幅作品代表了什么吗？
比如说我们现在眼前看到的这幅作品呢，是2008年我们的研究生创作的。我们知道2008年北京奥运会，举世瞩目。然后我们的同学呢，在创作过程当中呢，也是积极的跟这个社会，跟集体，跟那个有一些责任感的东西来表达在他的作品里边。
看到的是什么？
我们看到这个现在是我们这个建筑工地当时盖鸟巢的工人，他们的手掌纹，四个不同的建筑工人的掌纹。
Can you translate for us? Because I heard you say,
Well, he's saying it's supposed to be kind of like the palm of a working person, and how it kind of shows the work showing through their palms, like the lines and the dirt and stuff like that. Is that kind of right?
Yes, I think that's perfect. That's an accurate translation. 但为什么他们一看一眼，我们以为它是树叶？We thought they were leaves.
这个实际上他想要表达的就是说，当一个人的掌纹在无限放大的时候，放到很大很大的时候，才能体现出这个劳动的人民荣于这个国家，荣于国家荣誉。比如说我们看这个作品，现在看得比较清楚。这上面有非常非常细的这个掌纹的痕迹。那它同时感觉像树叶，像您说的特别的对啊。实际上这个就是具象和抽象之间本身就没有太大的差异，他以此来表达他对这些劳动人民、对这些建筑工人们的敬意。
Allow me to translate for you. So this is the kind of, this is abstract of what it looks like within the people's palm. And with this work, I think the students, the author of this work is trying to show the respect to those workers working on site for the 2008 Olympic Games, which was in Beijing. So can we step inside to show around the studio? Because for today, I think in our sole purpose here with me and Elena here, we like to try things hands-on, because we know this is an art form, but we can see it every day in our domestic environment. So can you teach us one thing or two about how to make this great art? 你能教我们一下怎么样去编织这个我可以说是毯子吗？
可以 tapestry.
Tapestry. Yes. Now let's try how to make a tapestry here.
正好我们现在有几个同学正在这个制作他们的这个编织的作品，我们看到他们这种工艺呢叫高比林，是法国的一种传统的编织工艺。
It's a very ancient way of weaving, and I think it originates from France.
这种工艺是在17世纪盛行的，在整个欧洲地区。然后我们这个高比林是一个法国的家族的名称，它为整个欧洲呢制造地毯，是为欧洲的这个地毯艺术的复兴起到了巨大的这样的一个贡献和作用啊。
So it is a very ancient family in France. It created some, I think it's the inventor of this way of weaving, and you have a pattern, and then according to that pattern you can weave it on with wool on this special canvas. So 我们能试试吗
？OK.
Elena, and if you still remember my colleague Nadim, he just dashed to this studio, and so I'd like to invite my two friends to try this craft, right?
OK.
And 这位同学，我们可以试试吗？Thank you. Nadim, choose your canvas.
I'm not going to ruin this for her.
Well,
I mean, that poor lady, she spent so much time on it.
You can just maybe you can just just a little, and just to make sure that you don't cause too much damage on it.
Okay.
If you ruin it, we'll leave you there and then never take you back to CGTN. And if you just tune in, here is a CGTN live, and we are showing how to make a tapestry. This is in Tsinghua University, the Art and Design School. Oh my.
Okay. Pull.
And you can use forks. Yeah.
I think this is the only location where you use a fork for different purpose.
Yeah. Who knew? 好，然后
这个线不用拉得太紧，就是很松的，对，然后自然落下来就可以了。这是一个就是手工编织的经纬结构的这样的一个工艺。那我刚才提到的这个法国的这个叫高比林的这个编织工艺，很遗憾，在欧洲现在很少有人在做这种编织工艺了。但是
So although it originates, this way of weaving originates from France, but in Europe, actually people somehow will no longer employ this kind of craftsmanship. But in China, I think in this studio they're trying to revive it.
Yeah.
Do you find it interesting?
Are you asking me or are you asking her? I find it scary because
Scary? You never
because
say that in canteen with a fork in your hand.
It's because it's an extremely delicate work, and my fat fingers cannot go in. And the main point for me is not to enjoy it as much as try not to ruin it for her, because I've noticed how she spent time on it. But
I will ask the supervisor later to grade her according to her work and to ignore what damage you've caused.
Extremely laborious, I tell you this. I mean, I understand now why machines exist, so they can do. I don't know if machines can do this, but I mean that girl must have a lot of upper body strength after doing this.
Elena, you want to try it?
Would you like?
Sure, I'll try.
Right, let me hold it for you.
Here's your fork and the thread.
So because we will only have half minutes live, so we will need to wrap up the live stream here. And in the studio, and we'll keep weaving for a while, and then later we'll show you more artworks in this room. But I guess actually have one question for you, Professor, because my colleague just said that now that we have a machine to make beautiful art for us, why do we still need people to kind of using this hands-on method to approach art？ 就是他刚才说，既然现在可以有很多机器去帮我们编织，那为什么我们还是要就是用人力去做这一点？
我觉得这个能够传承下来这种工艺，首先它是一个精神上的，作为一个艺术从业者，作为一个工艺美术的从业者，首先是一个精神价值的这样的。
So it's not just about what I'm just translating. The professor said it's not just about the material; it's about spiritual. Okay? By doing it, you kind of having a spiritual experience, and that is part of art. That is partly of what art is about.
那其次呢，这个我们看到这个画面，它的编织的上面有一些色彩丰富的画面。这个它实际上跟绘画是一样的，绘画用的是染料，我们用的是这个工具是叉子。
It's a different kind of a painting. Although painting you use paint, you use what Nadim just showed you in
That
the.
wasn't paint. Excuse you. That was dye.
I wasn't there, so I think my ignorance could be forgivable. But still, it's painting. You use paint. You use brushes. We use different materials to make what is in your mind on the canvas. But this is a different kind of a painting, but just with different material, with the wool. But I think that difference between materials can give an art a different kind of a texture. So what is so special about this one? About tapestry? About fiber art? 就是在和绘画相比，咱们的纤维艺术的最大的特点是什么呢？
那肯定就是首先就是材料的语言，就是柔软的、软性的这种材料。
It's soft. The wool is very, very soft.
Yeah. 这是为什么？就很多人就问说，那个纤维艺术作品或者编织的地毯，很多的时候能表达出那个绘画的很特别的效果。那我们为什么不用刚才您那个问题？为什么不用机器去做？实际上机器它永远达不到这个人的手工的感觉。
So the machine can never reach the level that a human being can. I find that's not very interesting. It's very interesting and a little bit hard to believe, because we can have the machine as precise as it can be. But do you think that eventually one day it's like artificial intelligence, like machine robots, they're going to replace us as artists as well? 就是会不会有一天？现在我们可以让机器做饭，让机器打扫卫生，那么会不会有一天机器要取代人类去创作艺术？
我觉得永远不会，因为创作它是一个带有感情的、带有创新的、带有灵感迸发的这样一个东西。你的机器它不会有。你比如说我们做这个作品，实际上也是这样，就是我们的作品这里边渗透的每一个同学，他自己对于绘画艺术，对于他要表达的事物的这样的一个感受性的东西，机器做的它是没有这种概念的。
So fundamentally, the difference between human being. I'm not giving you a lecture, so please at ease. I'm just translating, and the professor just told us that the machine is cold, machine is emotionless, and in order to make a piece of art, you need that passion, you need that spark, and that is something, at least for now, we still don't have in the machine. So I think human being is still safe. Can be rest assured that at least in this field, in the art school in Tsinghua University, we still have a job. People still. Can I ask you a few questions?
Yes.
你将来想做什么呢? I just ask what her career, expected career in the future. Can we look at the camera over there? Yes.
其实现在还不是特别的清楚，然后有点想做那个纤维艺术家，也有点想去继承传统工艺技术。
She said it's very simple. She liked to be an artist in the future, a tapestry artist, and she inherit and to spread the legacy in traditional tapestry art in the future. So Nadim, I will let you handle this because up until now I haven't tried anything in this room.
Okay.
And can you,
Elena,
be my helper? Can I try it a little bit?
Everyone has to try it. It's very therapeutic.
We
We ruined this enough. It's like let the girls save it.
We have about 2 minutes left of
Yeah.
this live stream, and I will spend.
刚才那个您那个问题，机器跟手工的区别，还有一个更重要的区别就是，你比如说他这件作品，他已经做了，有10多天了吧，10多天才能做那么多。如果机器的话，可能几分钟就做这么多，但是效果完全是不一样。
It takes a machine 2 minutes to weave this large, but it takes a human being about at least a dozen days. Can I?
而且呢，我再说一句，而且现在我们这种高比例的编织工艺哈，就是全球还没有一种机器能够掌握这种技法的，目前还没有。
That is a great message because no machine in the world at the moment can replace human being doing this kind of art as this is the ancient way.
To be honest, I'd like to think that when it comes to these crafts, machine can do a better job perhaps. It can be more time efficient, but it's a different feel when you see something made by a human. Are you listening to what I'm saying, Dean?
Actually, I cannot because
You're too focused.
Yes. This is delicate. I cannot distract myself by listening to you. But no offense. I mean, you have to focus. I don't think I can do it with me talking simultaneously.
Well, then I'll talk. You just do your thing and I'll talk. I was saying that I think that imperfection that comes perhaps from human work is much more valuable, to me at least, than having a piece of art that is as perfect as it can be.
Can I ask you one question before we wrap up this
Sure,
thing?
of course.
And Elena, your answer is also welcome.
Okay.
If I made the whole thing from scratch, how much would you pay for the work that I finished?
That you did?
Yes.
That you did?
Yes. Be careful with what you say. We'll go back to office and work together.
I don't know what Elena thinks, but I personally would not put a price tag on it. It's so invaluable, it's so priceless to humankind that I wouldn't dare to put a price on it.
So I guess that is the point of art. You can really not value it with any currency in the world. Would you agree with me, Elena? Because I know you're an economics student.
Do you agree, Elena?
I'm going to try to not be controversial.
Thank you.
I think things done by hand have a lot more value and meaning to them because it takes time. It takes someone that has studied how to do it versus just a machine that does it quickly. I think someone that has studied and knows how to do this professionally and well and in an artistic way, it means a lot more, especially to the people who are willing to buy something like this.
And to be honest, I mean, if you look at this, they're literally recreating a scene using these threads. And it's not like when it comes to painting, you can just paint a hill in green here and then paint another one. You have to be very strategic. You have to be very careful in how you weave them inside these, whatever they are, the threads, so you can create something. It's not like you have to go from here all the way there and then return. There's just so much detail that goes into that and so much attention.
I'll have to stop you there because I feel the producer keeping shouting in my ear that time is up. And Nadim and Elena, while I'm doing this, would you like conclude?
Yes, I will conclude. I don't know if Elena wants.
Please.
The floor is all yours. But with the tapestry lab here at the School of Fine Arts at Tsinghua University, we come to the end of our live stream. We've taken you through 3 labs. The design lab, where we saw fashion. I'm guessing I wasn't there.
Give Tony a thank you.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let the whole family come in. And then from the design lab, we went to the dyeing lab, where we sort of compared and contrasted different ethnic techniques of doing dyeing. And then we came here and we learned more about the tapestry and the difference between handmade items and machine-made items. I think for me, at least, it was quite an eye-opening experience, because you get to see how important working with your hand is at a time when machines are taking over factories and even people's jobs. And what did you think of it?
Oh yeah, let me conclude this whole thing, and thank you for Tony, and thank you Elena, thank you for showing us some wonderful, beautiful things today, and thank you all the professors and the teachers helping us today to give us this wonderful tool, and also thank you Nadim.
Thank you.
Without your help I would know nothing about dyeing. And Elena, you've been a wonderful guide, and thank you for your input in how to understand art. And thank you too, Tony. And most importantly, thank you for your company. And if you like this subject, just leave your comments in any of the comment sections of the social media platforms of CGTN, and we will continue to cover art, not just art, but also art education in China. And we'd like to give you more tours like this in beautiful Chinese university campus in the future. And yeah, I'll stop there. Thank you for your company. Thank you for your time.
See you
Bye-bye.
next time. See you.